Okay, here's our last video, and again, just like all the other stuff, it's sometimes it's easier on this master template, and other times it's the task is a little bit easier, maybe using Staplet, and unfortunately, they all have their pluses and minuses, and there's not one that always sticks out as the superior way. But I think for this particular one here, the way to go is the master sheet on the Excel, excuse me. And so, if you go along the bottom tabs here, again, we have variance, standard deviation tests that always, we see we have a lot of tests here, but the confidence intervals go along with these. So, when we test for mean or standard deviation or variance, which we're going to be learning next in terms of hypothesis testing, we always have these confidence interval sections on these worksheets as well. So uh, really, I did this one at a time just to save a little bit of time, but I clicked the solve button. We got our upper and lower limit. And of course, the chi-squared one is a little bit more difficult simply because it's at times, usually with a larger, um, if you looked at the other video on chi-squared, degrees of freedom, what you're going to find is that the critical values center, pretty close to the mean, because it's going to be somewhat symmetric. Okay, so the right tail and the left tail is going to be kind of this equidistance, from the mean. But for this one here, like I said, the mean is just the degrees of freedom, which would be 30. So you're approximately 15, 16 to the right of 30 here, and 15 or 16 below that. So, but sometimes if you have a lower sample size, so it's skewed from the other video, and it takes a little bit more to find these critical values using the other method. So anyway, the spreadsheet does all that for you. And so really all you had to do was enter the sample size here, 30, the confidence level 95, and the standard deviation. Remember, do not mess around with these black areas, keying in numbers. Just let those go, and only punch in the numbers for the red cells in order to, because these are all pre-programmed. Okay. And you can see here that we're dealing either, with a standard deviation or variance confidence interval. And you may get one of these that pop up for the variance, but you just look here on the yellow part. But I think pretty sure most of them are going to be, the estimating the standard deviations. And by the way, if you look at the formula here, you just get these yellow values by squaring the green values, or get the green values by squaring the yellow, or square rooting the yellow values. But anyway, here's your 1.43, and here's your 2.42 here, rounded to 2 decimal places, like they're adding over, or like they displayed over here. Okay. So, I didn't even get into this scenario here, but that's, pretty much how this stuff works. Okay. I'm not going to get into the Staplet way of doing it. It's very obscure, and we're not going to go ahead and do that right now. So, and same with the ALEKS calculator. Okay, it can be done there, but using the formula. But again, this is just a whole heck of a lot easier. And of course, time consuming, as well as accuracy, because anytime you start getting numbers and punching them in calculators, you have the potential to mistype things, and so forth, or press the wrong buttons, and you have potential for more mistakes. So why not do it this way? Okay, so there's our last video in the list of problems. I didn't go over every single one, but these are the main ones and main ideas. As always, if you have a question, please reach out. Again, I try to emphasize email is a much quicker way of getting in touch with me, because it'll pop up on my phone. Whereas, I only check the messages every so often. So you'll get a much quicker response if you email me. So, all right. Well, God bless as always. And we'll see you next unit. We'll be dealing with hypothesis testing. And so we're going to be building on these ideas that we, been working with all along here. So, all right, we'll see you then.